So, Mr. Jeremy, you want to tell me a little bit about yourself?
My name is Jeremy Allen. I am the assistant pastor at Living Way Church in Conroe, Texas. I have been happily married for 24 years to Melissa. She is involved in music ministry and teaching. I have two children, Maylee, who is 19, and Avery, who is 14. And I am currently working as the director of operations for Advanced Genomics Molecular Lab. And
What is that?
We do genetic testing, medical testing, cutting edge stuff. It's really cool. I was privileged to become a equity partner in this group, and we are beginning to roll out all kinds of new testing for Alzheimer's, autism, ophthalmology, all kinds of stuff that is taking medicine to a different level and creating tailored, personalized testing that is just for you. And it will create better outcomes for the doctor, better outcomes for you. It's really impressive. It's really, really interesting. I'm glad to be a part of that. And I'm also the director of operations for A Serene Hospice that covers this area. Hospice is something I'm very passionate about as well. It's a often misunderstood business, and it's not just where people go to die. It's a quality of life issue with me and with my staff. Right. We like to talk about things, prepare the families, deal with issues. It's been amazing to me to see how just by talking about that season of life has often improved people's quality of life. Mm-hmm. While the quantity may not be what we want it to be, the driving purpose of that is better quality.
Right.
And so making sure relationships are great with family, there's an understanding of the disease process. All of that works together to create an outcome that is more favorable than just leaving someone on their own. So I try to stay as busy as possible. I'm writing a book right now. I'm partnered up with Heaven's Army. I love this ministry. I love working with these people. It's been really good for my wife and I. So that's just a quick snapshot of my life. And I'm glad to be a part of it today, be here.
In the hospice, when you were talking about the hospice just then, do you think that you being a pastor helps in that role?
I definitely do. I 100%, because comfort is found in the Word. Mm-hmm. And if you know the Word, you are never without something to say to someone. Right. Because everything that we need in life, every problem, every fear, every worry, it can be addressed in the Word. Mm-hmm. And if someone knows the Word, they can share the Word. But I also think that hospice has equipped me as a pastor. Because when you're in Bible school or you're in seminary, they don't tell you how to deal with these difficult conversations.
Right. That's experience.
It's experience. And so when you're forced to talk to people about end-of-life issues, there becomes an ease that it just comes with you, and you can begin to navigate these waters and work with people and help them find the healing and the answers that they need. That only comes with, like you just said, experience.
Right. So if money wasn't an issue, and you talked about just then about the things that you're so involved in and that you love doing and staying busy and things like that. So if money wasn't an issue, what would you be doing?
I would be pastoring full-time.
Yes.
That is all I would care to do, pastor and write books. Those are the two things that I would do. It would just make my day to get up in the morning, take care of my people, take care of my church, sit down, do some writing, do some studying. I love to study. I love to read, and I love to challenge myself. Mm-hmm. I have a small group of guys that we meet, we talk, we challenge each other with the Word, and we grow, and that would be the epitome of life to me.
Wow. Right. So what's your book about?
I'm writing a 13-lesson series called The Chronicles of Capacity, and it is taking character issues, and it is starting with things like forgiveness, compassion, courage, and it's taking Bible stories and applying them to everyday life and showing little things in the stories that you may or may not have heard growing up or reading the Word, and showing you how you can increase your capacity to grow in these areas. And I did 12-week series so that it could cover a quarter for a Sunday school teacher, for a pastor, or for a small group setting, so that they could have 3 months of weekly lessons. It's also got a study guide with it, and it should be out by the end of summer.
Wow, that's amazing.
So very happy about that.
Yes. So it'd be something that we could use at Heaven's Army?
Oh yeah, y'all are going to
Just
get free copies.
Yes.
They'll
okay.
either be coasters for you, or you can use them. One of the two. Not sure.
We'd like to use it and teach the ladies from them and use them as a study and stuff. So
Yeah. The coffee's good, by the way.
thank you. It's a new recipe.
It's good.
So what character traits do you most respect in other people?
Loyalty and honesty. Right off the bat. Honesty and loyalty. If you're honest, I respect you. Even if you have to speak a hard truth into my life, or it's something that I don't want to hear, I value honesty.
You know, that's one of the hard things with even in Heaven's Army of working with the ladies and the men in the discipleship, is that can be tough sometimes because
Yep.
you have to, they're so vulnerable. And then when you have to be raw and real with them about their character deflaws or things that's their normal, and you're correcting those things, it can be very sensitive. Do you find that as a pastor?
Oh, yeah, 100%. But I've also found that before I can be very direct and very honest with someone, I have to establish a foundation of love. And once they know I love them, that hard truth is easier to accept.
All right.
And I have found that love is the foundation for all of that. And loyalty, once they're honest and they know they can trust you and you know you can trust them, the loyalty kind of grows organically out of that.
Right. Do you think that, because I mean, I just think about myself being dedicated and loyal and true to the ministry. I've been doing this for, over 14 years.
Wow.
And still, don't receive a paycheck. And there's a loyalty to that because I'm
Right.
absolutely passionate about what I do. I love getting up every morning and doing this. And I know you do. And that, you just said I would do ministry full time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's something when people don't see that in us? Like, we're so dedicated and we're so loyal to this and we love them so much that we would not care about the other, like you said, the careers of things. We just want to be able to love on people and minister to them and help them. But sometimes they don't see that and see our love and loyalty in the midst of that.
I agree. I think there's been a lot of black eyes handed to ministry
Yes.
and a lot of hurt, a lot of disappointment. But we're not to put our trust in man.
Yet.
And so you've got to redirect that thinking. Not everyone is out to take. There are true ministers who want to give.
Right.
And I think a lot of people approach ministry with what you just said. They have a wall up. But it doesn't take long for the real ministry to shine through. And people see that, and then people are open to receiving the words that you speak into their life. I think the problem sometimes is with us, where we feel undervalued. And we feel like no one really gets us. I'm 46. I've never been a full-time pastor. But I have almost all of my friends are full-time pastors. And I struggle sometimes feeling like life has passed me by, or this has happened, or this has happened. And I've learned that I have got to get my value from my area of ministry. My daughter said something to me the other day that encouraged me beyond belief, because I was very down about not pastoring. And she's 14, and she walked in and she said, Dad, no, it was my 19-year-old. She said, Dad, I was praying for you last night, and God said that your ministry's too big for one church. You just got to pastor everybody.
That's good.
And I was like, okay, I like that. She goes, you have a huge church, Dad. It's everybody in town.
Yes.
And when she said that, it really began, what you just said right there, I began to understand that God has different paths for all of us to walk down.
As you were saying that, even before you even said what your daughter had said, I was already thinking that your church is where you're at right now in your career.
Yeah.
Because how many that do you work with that need to hear the gospel?
Right.
And that you're there to show them the love of Jesus, and sometimes may never go into church. And if we only stay in the four walls of a church building, we miss a whole lot of the mission field that's on the outside. I was telling you before we started that Sunday was different for us, where normally we would go to a church in the same routine of praise and worship and, all that. It was that we went to a senior's home. She was a shut-in. And we went to her house, and we took praise and worship to her. I took the ladies from the women's home, and we went in ready to just love on this lady and be the church. We said, you don't always have to go to a building. We can go somewhere and be the church.
Be the church.
And when we got there, it was nothing of what we expected, because she had been serving the Lord for over 80 years, faithfully. And the love in her just had all of us in tears, absolute tears.
Yeah.
And we, one of the ladies didn't know a certain song she'd been practicing, but she plays a guitar, and then she was playing on a piano, so it was tough for her to get started with the song. It was the old Rugged Cross. Mm-hmm. And she knew that she was struggling, and we were all waiting for her to get the song right so we could then pick up on the right key to start singing. So we're all just sitting there, and it's really awkward.
Yeah, silence is awkward
just
sometimes.
Silence. And then all of a sudden, she just started singing this song. And as soon as she started singing, the piano went right into key, and we all started singing with her. It was just beautiful.
Yeah. Who ministered to who that day?
She ministered to us, absolutely.
Exactly.
And I asked her, when we left, we asked, so when can we come back to church here?
That's awesome.
It was so amazing. And I told her, she said that, she's 95 years old.
Wow.
Still lives by herself. And she said, I have the right mind. And she said, my prayer every day is, Lord, she says, keep my eyes healthy enough to where I can read your word.
Wow.
I just need to be able to read your word.
That's impressive.
Yes, and she said that's every day, just reading his word. And that woman could quote scriptures, and she sat there and told us so many Bible stories, and, and 95.
Yeah. I think that's something that we all need to be more aware of is our elders. They're treasures.
Yes.
I teach a Sunday school class every Sunday, and I had 1 month I had our elders come in, a different set of elders every week of that month, and they taught the class. And we just sat there and just soaked up years and years of wisdom that only comes with tears, triumphs, heartache, and mistakes. Wow. And they were able to just relate to everyone in that class and give advice and say little things. And one of the men in the class, he said, I spent my whole life working. I didn't have vacations. I didn't spend time with my kids. He was a police officer in Houston, and he said, then I realized, he said, if I could go back and do it again, he said, I wouldn't work so much because I can't get the time back. I can't get the vacations back. I can't get all this stuff back. And he said, you're not trading for money. You're trading your life.
Right.
I was like, my word, what a sound nugget of wisdom right there. You don't get this stuff back. You don't get it back.